Last night was not a good night for them at Madison Square Garden, and that's putting it nicely. The power play was bad, could not seem to get anything going offensively, and the defense just routinely left Henrik Lundqvist out to dry. As a result, the Habs lead the series 2-1. Here's Michelle Yu.
Home has not been where the heart is for the Rangers. After Sunday's Game 3 loss, the Blue Shirts have now lost 6 straight home games in the playoffs, dating back to Game 2 of the 2015 Conference Finals against Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, they don't have too many answers.
I don't know. If we had just one thing to point out, we would correct it, but you can only go to yourself.
It's a tough record, but as we said last night, we're going to have a clean slate, and I look at it as 0-1.
We picked a bad time yesterday to have a bad game. Obviously, the storyline is going to be compounding, what we've done at home these past couple of years. But for us, this is our first game at home in this new season.
Meanwhile, the Rangers are in desperate need of fixing their power play, and no relief has been in sight. The Blue Shirts are 0 for 10 in the series, and Alain Vigneault says you can count on adjustments being made.
I'm looking at all our options right now. There's definitely a lot of credit to be given to Montreal and how well they're playing, not only without the puck, but also with the puck, the decisions that they're making.
I think we're working on that power play. Obviously, know it's a big part of the game. They showed it. They had a couple big power play goals, and we got to figure out how we can do that.
Last game was essentially came down to where we didn't really have it 5-on-5. The power play could have gave us some momentum, and we weren't sharp and didn't execute very well. So I think we're in a positive mood today. We had a good practice, so I think we're gonna be ready to go for tomorrow.
Perhaps Henrik Lundqvist said it best when asked how this team could even up the series. He said there's not a big difference between the two teams, but it all comes down to pure determination. At the Garden, Michelle Yu, SNY.
For more on the disaster that was Game 3 at the Garden, we welcome in former Ranger Colton Orr to the show. And Colton, in your estimation, what happened in that game?
Yeah, it was a tough game for the Rangers. They came out, they were in a good position. It was 1-1. They did what they wanted to do on the road, was get that one game, that one win. And they came home and they just came out flat. They couldn't find a way to generate any offense. Power plays hasn't been very good at all, and they're just not finding scoring chances. They're not competing, it looks like. They're staying to the outside and on the perimeters, and they're just not finding ways to get to the net and get in front of Carey Price.
So I'm at the game last night, and in my section, plenty of fans are killing the Rangers for not being able to win at home, which has been a problem for them all season. Now, granted, the crowd wasn't as into it as the crowd in Montreal. It wasn't nearly the same level of intensity at the Garden as it was in Montreal, but it's not like the Rangers did a whole lot to get them excited early on in the game. Generally, though, Colton, why do you think this team cannot win at home right now?
This is one I've been trying to figure out. It's such a great building to play in. They got good fans, very knowledgeable fans, and right now they're not giving them something to cheer about. And when they're not giving them something to cheer about, the fans are going to let them know. And they were a little booing last night, and that can affect the team. And I think a lot of nerves is starting to settle in for them, and it's become a thing. It's built up over the season. That you can see that they can't even make a 10-foot pass because they're worried about that they're worth bigger things.
Do you think that when you're a player and you're in the locker room, the media comes in, why aren't you winning at home? Does that sort of build upon itself, and by the end of the season you're thinking this is a thing now? Like you just said, do players know that this is a problem for that team? Yeah,
you like to think it's not. They're going to say all the right things, saying it's not a problem, but it does. It affects you. And when you're continually losing and not able to score at home, it's going to wear on you. And you can see that in their play that they just can't seem to generate anything here at home.
And you would think before Game 4 now that Alain Vigneault would want to make some sort of dramatic adjustment. What do you think he will do, and what would you do?
I don't think the changes are what you need. I think it comes in from what they got now. They got to play a different style of game. It's been hard on them to, they're a very good defensive team, the Canadiens, and I just think they got to find a way to penetrate that defense. They got to find ways to compete to get to the net, and I think the lineup can stay the way it is. I think they got to find ways to, maybe get the power play involved a little more and get them, because that's going to help them win games.
I'll tell you one thing the Rangers could use is a power play goal right about now. Colton Orr, we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for having me.